the Human Torch was denied a bank loan.
Oh no, brown cow. Oh no, brown cow. Ah! 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 Hey everyone. Welcome to episode 15 of Disney Channel original Noobies. I'm Joanna.
And I'm your co-host, Sam, along for the ride.
Hey Sam, how's it going?
It's going all right. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well.
So how that snowed this week?
That was some snow.
Not a fan. Not a fan.
I'm a fan except for when I'm shoveling snow.
Okay. Well, so basically, if you don't have to go outside, or
if I can go play in the snow but not shovel snow, that's okay.
But when's the last time you played in the snow?
Probably last year.
Really?
Yeah.
What'd you do? Like sledding and stuff?
I don't know. I probably just ran around and like threw a snowball at someone or something. I don't know.
We were here. I don't remember any of this.
I would have done it on a run.
Oh, okay. At strangers?
Yes.
At strange children on the side of the road?
Yeah, duh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so it does sound pretty cool now. Think about it.
Yeah. Throwing snowballs at strangers. Speaking of weird things.
That's a great transition.
Thank you.
I was going to say on a more serious topic.
Before we jump into the color of friendship, just want to give a quick shout out to our friends at another podcast called Who You Callin' Trashy. I've been listening to it, and they do recaps of episode by episode recaps of reality TV shows, and they did Love is Blind.
I miss that show so much.
I do too. So now that I've listened to it, I feel like I need to rewatch it and judge Samantha again. What's her name, Samantha?
The main one? I feel like it wasn't Samantha because I would remember that.
Oh man, what was her name? Jessica?
I think Jessica sounds more right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Miss her. Obviously, we miss the Kenny Sales.
And the Saleses.
The Saleses are the best.
The Saleses. Oh, and poor Mark.
Yeah, he kind of knew what was going on, I feel.
I mean, I kind of hope he did.
He had
maybe
no
he
social
didn't.
awareness, if that's the case.
I mean, we also don't know what happened that they cut out.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Did they had to sleep together, right?
Yeah, they did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But, two of the couples still together.
Yes.
Pretty impressive.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
And looks like Kenny Sales is pretty happy now. I think he's
With his
engaged or
girlfriend.
something, or whatever the situation is. So good for him.
Yeah, for the people who are like, I don't remember anyone named Kenny Sales. Kenny was a salesman, so we call him Kenny Sales.
I think the first time it showed up on screen, it said Kenny, and in the bottom, which is his job, just said sales. I was like, Kenny Sales? Oh, he's great. I miss Kenny.
Anyway, moving on.
The Color of Friendship.
Yes, from the year 2000, our second Y2K movie.
And easily the most serious of the movies we've watched so far.
By far.
And
what a significant change in Disney Channel original movie tone.
Yeah. And out of nowhere, too. Like, you wouldn't, because we've already been through 13 movies. I think this is the 14th movie. Every other movie, while some serious topics obviously are discussed in those movies, they're mainly like fun, easygoing, comedy somewhat movies. This one is not that.
Not even a little bit.
There are some funny scenes, but
there was a
not in the same way.
pretty good montage.
Oh, fantastic.
To add levity.
One of the best montages of any of these movies we've seen so far.
I wouldn't say the best montage, but...
Oh, I loved it.
Oh, we'll get to that.
Absolutely. So, in a general sense, this movie's about apartheid in South Africa. And there's a child from South Africa who comes to the United States. It takes place in 1977. Yes. Mm-hmm. A child from South Africa comes to the United States and stays with a family there for 2-3 weeks.
I think it was 4 months.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
For a semester in school, basically.
Yes.
And it's about their dynamic and also what's happening right now, or at the time right now, in South Africa in terms of the apartheid.
Right.
And the twist on this movie is the South African child is white and the American child is black.
So Piper, who is the American child, she is begging her parents to host an exchange student. And all she knows is that the student will come somewhere from Africa, somewhere on the continent. They're not sure which country.
Right. We don't even know South Africa. Just anywhere in Africa.
Just anywhere
right.
on the African continent. She's super excited. She wants to, learn more about Africa, learn more about her roots,
the culture
learn
there.
more about the culture, and very pumped for this exchange student.
So excited. And her father is a congressman at the Capitol, the United States, obviously. She's like playing like African music from like Senegal when he gets home, just to be like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize the music was on.
Is that a little loud?
Can we have
let me turn it down. Oh wait, that's up. Sorry.
Eventually, she gets her father to go along with it. I think her mother was along with it the whole time. She was okay with it.
Yeah, she was.
She just needed to convince the father.
Yeah, her mom was definitely the cool one.
Right. And then simultaneously in South Africa, there's a white girl who is trying to convince her father, who's a police officer in South Africa, which comes up later, to allow her to go to America to stay with the family for a semester. I'm not really sure. That's to experience, life in the United States, I guess, is her plan.
Yeah, she, she's heard a lot about the United States. She wants to see what it's like. Interesting that she uses the same tactic of trying to convince her mother to convince her father.
Right. Both mothers are on board for this.
Yeah.
And the fathers are like, I don't know. But he came along pretty quickly. The South African father.
Yeah, they just give him some puppy dog eyes, and he was like, oh, of course. Of course you can go.
The South African girl's
really
name
fast.
Is Mari. And you said Piper is the American girl. So it's Piper and Mari are the two
main characters.
Right. So
protagonists, if you will.
I will.
Okay.
We get to the scene where Mari flies to DC and Piper's family, I don't know their last name, Piper. Do you? Oh, Dellums. We knew that.
Yeah, Dellums.
Right, because she thought it was like French. Delums or whatever. It's like, no, it's Dellums.
Yeah. The Flora, who is the...
Oh, we forgot to mention her.
Yeah,
right.
She's the maid in South Africa. She's like, Dellums. And then Mari's like, no. And Flora's like, I think I'm right.
She definitely knew.
Yeah, she 100% knew. She had a newspaper clipping. She was following them along.
Right. Oh, and also we should explain that neither Piper nor Mari know what each other look like before they come.
Yeah. Pictures were not required in the application.
So when Mari gets to the airport, Piper's family's there and they have no idea who they're looking for. And they're like, where the hell is Mari? And then
Interesting that they chose not to make a sign for this person that they don't know and don't know what she looks like.
Totally agree. They could have kidnapped a random child. Who knows?
They almost did.
Yeah. Thank God. They didn't.
I feel like would have been a little bit smoother sailing if they had kidnapped someone, but
yeah, I guess maybe. Yeah, who knows? And then they say, "Oh, we're looking for Mari," and Mari's like, "Oh, I'm Mari," and they're like, oh,
"What?
It's a white
She's
girl."
white.
Uh-oh.
Did not see this coming.
So within the first minute of them knowing each other, Piper's clearly upset that she's white. And Mari thinks that they should be handling her bags.
Yeah. I mean, she thinks they're the help.
She doesn't know that they're the family.
No.
Until they get to the Capitol, which is hysterical.
This was the most tense and awkward scene of any movie ever created. When they walk into the Capitol for Mari to meet Congressman Dellums, Piper's dad.
Yeah. They walk into the room where it's like 50 people at the Capitol who are all black. And then
this is
this one white girl walks in.
Yeah.
And they're all like, who's this white girl? And
then she says, basically, is this a joke?
When they introduce her to the congressman.
And everyone stares her down.
It was so awkward. I can't even fathom that situation. That was so awkward.
If they were all superheroes in Up and Away, they would have been shooting laser beams out their eyes.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Queen. There's a lot of talk about apartheid in the next few scenes, I think. One of the African kids at the school tells Piper about what's going on there. Then we find out that her father, the congressman's in charge of handling apartheid. That sounds wrong. Not handling apartheid, but addressing apartheid in South Africa.
I'll handle it, Sam.
And just to be clear, he is anti-apartheid.
Yes, he is fighting against apartheid.
Yes.
So during that conversation that Piper is having with her friend Daniel, who is Nigerian, they're explaining apartheid to a group of friends who are with them, and I thought they did a really good job of explaining it quickly and concisely because it's a movie and they had to move on.
Definitely. And for children.
And for children, it was a really simple explanation. I think it was something like, it's apartheid and they're trying to keep the blacks and whites apart. So it's like apartheid.
Right.
And I was like, oh, that's the perfect way to explain this to someone who probably has never heard that before.
Yeah, probably most of the people watching this movie.
Yeah.
When it first came out, at least.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a funny scene. So when Mari arrives to the house, Piper's house, there's 3 brothers.
2 brothers and a friend.
Yes.
Who seems to always be hanging out.
Right.
Yeah.
The friend's a white kid, right?
Yes.
Oh, no. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's 3 boys there, and they're blasting the
African
music.
drums.
And the 2 of them walk in, the mother and Piper walk in, and they're like, no. And the kids are like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then Mari walks in, and they're like, they're like, hi, Mari! Just screaming at her. And she's like, what the fuck is going on? And she runs upstairs and runs away and locks herself into the room.
She's just terrified. And then the brothers are kind of in shock, but then decide that they don't really care because it's hilarious.
They're like, wait, who's that white girl?
I thought you were picking up Mari for the airport.
It was basically a record scratch. It was I think the music stops.
It does. And it is a record.
It literally record scratches. And she runs upstairs.
So many uncomfortable scenes all in a row. It was great.
I did write down the quote. I'm happy I did this. One of the kids says, I thought we ordered a real African.
I wrote that down too.
A fantastic line. Oh man, I loved it. It was really, really funny.
All right, so Mari runs away. She
locks herself in the room for a long time.
A day and a half.
Yeah, at least that, yeah.
She sneaks out to call her parents, almost to call them to go home. And then her dad teases her a little bit, and she's like, nope, I'm staying.
Right. But clearly she doesn't want to be there.
No.
And also the congressman doesn't want her there either.
Yeah, really, she doesn't want to be there. They don't want her there. But she's stubborn and has to prove a point to her family, so she stays.
What'd you think of the congressman's actions in the beginning with Mari?
Which actions specifically?
Basically saying she can't be here because she's white. And it looks bad for me.
I understood why he was thinking that way and why it would be an image issue to have a white South African. It was specifically because she was a white South African staying with him. But this is also discussed later where his wife is talking to him and she's like, if you're not going to let this child stay in our house just because of the color of her skin, what kind of example are you setting for our kids?
I thought his behavior was so outrageous. And he was acting like a fucking child. It was insane. It makes sense for Piper to be upset and for Mari to be upset because Mari's her entire life up until she's but they're 13 years old, right?
They're 13 or 14.
Her whole life, she's been through apartheid, so like she doesn't know like what's going on in America, whatever, and how it's different than South Africa. But like he's a fucking congressman, and for him to behave that way toward a fucking child is insane and so over the top for no reason.
Yeah, I don't think he should have behaved that way in front of her, but I get what his mindset was. It's like, it's a, he has to be reelected.
Yeah, sure, but
yeah.
Absolutely ridiculous
Yeah.
behavior. But enough about the congressman for now.
Only for now, though.
Eventually, Mari apologizes to the Piper for locking herself in the room and not talking to her for a while after she finally talks to her dad. And they exchange gifts, and they become pretty quickly friendly with each other, which is very adorable.
Yeah, they bond over music a little bit.
Casey and the Sunshine Band.
Yeah, and Mari is like, my brother would find this so weird because it turns out they're not white.
Yes.
Like everyone in South Africa thinks.
Can you name one song by them?
No.
Me either.
Note to self, look up Casey and the Sunshine Band.
And Piper tells her dad, she's not leaving, she's going to stay. And the dad is still like, no, she's getting out of here. Let's get rid of her. Which is, again, ridiculous, but enough of that. And he's like, our children aren't racist. Like, we can't have her being here. Which is, and again, kind of, contradictory in the first place. But whatever.
I can't remember if that was when... I think that's when the mom is like, do you hear what you're saying?
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Another fun scene, though, I don't know if this happens right after this or around then, is the breakfast scene when they're all eating breakfast together.
That was... Okay, so I know we usually talk about favorite scene at the end, but
that was your favorite scene? Oh,
yeah,
it was
the
so
breakfast
great.
scene.
It was so great.
So, the family is sitting around eating breakfast. There's a whole bunch of stuff on the table. Still quite the breakfast spread. Not what my family would have had.
And it's Mari's first time eating with the family together.
Yes.
Yep.
First time eating with them. First time having breakfast with them. And, they have the toast out. They have cereal out, blah, blah, blah. And so, they have some nice chit chat. And then Mari goes, I'm hungry and I want this and I want this and I want this and I want this and I want this.
Naming like 40 different foods that she wants.
Yes.
And some that are like South African foods that like no one...
I have no idea. I don't know what she said.
No one west of like Italy's ever heard of.
So the mom kind of just looks at her and goes, okay, so even if I knew what those foods were, they're not on the table. I didn't make them. So you're not eating them. You're going to have some Cheerios and you're going to like it.
Joanna, they weren't Cheerios. They were sugar hoops.
Oh, so
she was like, bitch, we're having sugar hoops and that's all you're getting. They did look pretty good though. I would have eaten the sugar hoops. I preferred them to the eggs and bacon.
And whatever, did she say bangers and mash or something? I don't know what she said.
She's like, we don't have chick chickies, we don't have flick flickies. I don't know what you're talking about. Even if I did, I wouldn't make them for you. We're having sugar hoops.
By the way, wash up when you're done.
And they just leave. Everyone leaves the table. It's just her eating breakfast by herself at the end. Oh, the mother's still there, I think.
Yeah, the mother is still there. But all of the... I think as soon as Mari said, like, I want this and I want this and I want this, everyone else at the table was like, bye.
Oh, it was great. And it goes immediately to a depressing scene where they're driving through the, like, bad area of DC. Mm-hmm. And she's like, oh, they let these, like, black people walk around without papers? And it's like, what the fuck was that about?
Yeah. Piper...
was insane.
Is shocked. Piper is shocked. She's like,
what are you talking about?
Yeah, we can go wherever we want. And this is obviously another teaching moment, teaching the viewers about apartheid and what happened. But it was laying it on.
And this was on the way to the mall, right?
Yes.
Okay. And so they go to the mall again. She's like, oh, are white people allowed to shop together? They're like, yeah, like it's okay.
Yeah, duh. let's go shop together right now.
So she goes to the mall. She sees a lot of people of different races. And then this was the montage, right? When
This was the trying on clothes
trying clothes
montage
for a long
for the
time,
first day
right.
of school. Oh, so for the shopping montage, I'm just imagining a props team having a blast because they're just putting together all of these crazy 70s outfits into the store.
It was so cool, the clothing that they had. It was all 70s clothing, probably some 80s clothing in there, but mainly 70s clothing. A lot of bell bottoms.
Yeah, a lot of bell bottoms.
Hella bell bottoms.
A lot of vests. A lot of like hippie vests. A lot of platforms.
They did the thing where they put on something that's obviously terrible. They both walk out. They look at each other and like, no. And they walk back in. Great scene. Happens all the time when they do like two people trying on clothing at the same time. Like in Dumb and Dumber, when they have like really, really nice suits on. Have you seen that movie?
Yeah.
When they put on like very nice suits that look good.
Like,
and they both walk out and they're like, no.
And then they put on those
the
tuxes.
Orange and blue one. Like,
yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Did you ever go shopping with your friends? And like try on clothes?
Not really.
Mm.
I really just go shopping like with my mom, I think, when I was younger. I don't know. I can't remember doing that. Maybe when I was in like college, but that's about it.
Okay.
How about you?
Yeah, we would go shopping together. Sometimes we would have ugly dress contests.
To like the one mall in upstate New York.
We are geographically in southern New York.
People would be like...
And there is more than one mall.
People would be like, let's go to the mall. And they're like, yes. And in my town, people would be like, let's go to the mall. And we would be like, which one?
Okay, that's true. But yeah, we would go shopping together. We would have ugly dress contests where we would try to find the ugliest dress in the store. And
you
then
would
we
actually do that?
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah. And then we would put them on and judge each other.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Maybe one day we'll reenact it.
Okay. I mean, we did have guys in our friends group who participated. Just saying.
They wore dresses?
Yeah.
Interesting. This is in high school?
Yep.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm. Well, they wanted to win the ugly dress contest, so
No, of
you got to be in to win it.
What was the prize for it?
You got to say that you found the ugliest dress.
Oh, and follow-up question.
Mm-hmm.
Was it the dress just had to be the ugliest or looked the ugliest on that person?
We didn't really determine that rule, but we probably did factor in how it looked on someone.
Okay.
So it had to be an ugly dress and not look good.
Okay.
All right. So back to the movie.
But back to the mall specifically. So they get ice cream after they try on a bunch of dresses. And then one of them, Piper, pretends it's Mari's birthday. And they just bring her like a whole cake.
And it's a massive cake for three of them. Also, I completely approve of that.
It was so funny. It was like it seemed free too. I don't really understand.
It did seem free. I had no issues with that.
That was great.
Yeah.
Oh, and
more of that, please.
We didn't mention before, a very disturbing scene in this movie. Probably the most disturbing scene in the movie.
Way in the beginning of the movie.
Right. In South Africa, you know what I'm going to say, is when at the restaurant in the beginning in South Africa, a black waiter spills something on a white patron.
Yeah.
And he's like on the ground.
Yeah, he trips. It's an accident.
Totally by accident. And the white guy just fucking like punts him and like kicks him when he's on the ground.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It was like and like no one was shocked by it except like Mari and like her brother were kind of shocked by it, but like her father like was like, yep.
Oh yeah, that of course.
Oh, it's Tuesday. Cool. And so in the ice cream scene, a black waiter drops some ice cream on a white patron again. Same exact situation. Mm-hmm. And Mari's getting flashbacks. She's like, oh no, don't kick him. And they're like, what are you talking? Like, what? And the white guy's like, oh, it's fine. This tastes great. Bring me one of these.
Yeah.
Which is nicer than most people would be in that situation.
100%.
I'd be like, can I have free food? Can I have a birthday cake?
I mean, I'm assuming that he got that milkshake for free.
Maybe. It's possible.
Yeah.
Definitely the one on the shirt was free. Slurp.
This is delicious. I'll take 5.
Yeah, so she was happy that
really showing the difference between
he didn't beat the waiter.
United States and South Africa.
They start going to school. They go to school for the first day, or they're talking about going to school for the first day. And all right, we have to be careful with this part because there's some very bad language used.
Oh, yes, which I was shocked that this was in a Disney Channel movie.
Same. But it worked totally well. It wasn't offensive. It was like done well.
Yeah, it was factual.
So
but still.
They're talking about South African language. And she keeps saying the word Bantu.
Something like that.
I think so. Mari says Bantu a lot. And she's like, Piper's like, what does that mean? And she's like, it means like a black person. So they refer to all black people as Bantus.
Mm-hmm.
And then she says a different word, which I'm not going to say, although it's not, it's racist.
It is. Yes.
She says racist, the N word basically in Bantu, which is a different word completely. And she's like, this is the racist word. Bantu isn't racist. Oh my God, this gets insane. So I think she actually says the N word.
She does say the N word. She's
but
like,
only
this
repeating
word,
her. Yes.
Yeah, this word means this.
Yeah.
And, well, first, Piper is like, so, but what are all the words for
We'll
white?
call it the C word.
Yeah. The N word means the C word.
Yes.
Yeah. And then Piper's like, what are the words for white people? And Mari's like,
white.
White. That's it.
So, yeah, I couldn't believe she said the N word, but that was insane. So then the next day or that night, it's not really clear. Piper's talking to her father and talking about stuff in South Africa that she learned from Mari. And then Piper says, oh, Mari said the C word.
Yeah. And her dad is
like,
furious.
What the fuck did you just say?
Like, he's going
to kill her. He's going to kill Mari.
He's going to throw her out in the street.
Yeah.
Get out of my house. How dare you disrespect my family?
Oh my God.
And then Piper's like, no. She said this word and said that she would never say
She would never call me that.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That was insane. I thought that he was going to beat her.
I didn't think he was going to beat her. I thought he was just going to throw her out.
I thought he was going to throw her against the wall or something.
But yeah, Piper comes down.
And Mari's not there for this conversation.
No, she's in the other room.
She overhears it. We learned later on.
Oh, well, he's yelling, so everyone heard.
So he gets mad and then he calms down. He's like, oh, okay, now I understand the situation. Later that night, Mari's out of her room and they kind of talk about it, but not directly. And she starts reading the book Roots, which is like, you should definitely read that about like American slavery. And she's like, what's that? Yeah. She has no clue about what's going on in the U.S.
And I thought this was really slick of the congressman. He's like, it's a really big book. If you don't finish it, you could bring it back with you.
She'll get arrested in South Africa for having that book.
But way to smuggle it in.
And then here's a good line here. He says, I don't think you're a bad person. Just think you've been taught bad things. Which is great. Finally, he's like, she's not bad for just being a white person from South Africa with some horrid views because of how she's raised.
Yeah, I mean, she's still a child.
And so this makes me think of, I know we talk about free will a lot, us personally, not on the podcast. So we kind of debate it. And like, this kind of goes with my thinking about free will. Like if someone's racist, like it's not really their choice to be racist. I don't think racism's a choice or anything like that. It's just like your circumstances growing up, what you've been taught throughout your life. Like, given the choice between being racist and not being racist, it's obviously a lot easier to just not be racist. So I don't think anyone would choose to be racist. So it kind of like seems nonsensical. And like, I feel like the way to combat racism is just like teaching these people, immersing them in different cultures and things like that, and not like berating them and being like, you suck. Stop doing that.
On the one hand, but then on the other hand, if someone is unwilling to listen to other people's views and unwilling to learn about other cultures and other people, then that is their choice. So in this movie, if Mari hadn't come to the United States, she obviously never would have had this opportunity to, learn about racism and what she can do to battle it. But once she does arrive, at first she is resistant, but then she decides that she's going to learn, and she puts in that effort.
Sure.
So she's making that choice. She could have just said, fuck this, I'm going home, or fuck this, I'm going to be miserable for 4 months, but I'm going to prove my dad wrong, but I'm just going to lock myself in the room.
Right. I mean, it'd be like if growing up your whole life, you're taught gravity exists. And then, like, when you're 50 years old, someone's like, oh, gravity doesn't exist. You'd be pretty, like, hesitant to just, like, believe that gravity doesn't exist. Obviously, it's a different situation than being racist. But it's just an example of, like,
I mean, gravity obviously doesn't
exist. I know. Yeah. It's flat. We'll get to that in the next episode. But I don't know. I think that's just kind of how I see it. And especially, I think because free will in general is the real sticking point here. Because I don't think anyone would choose to be racist given the option. So, I don't know. Seems more like a barrier to doing better things. Being racist. I don't really see the benefits. Especially in today's society.
I don't want to get into all that. That's a whole other discussion.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
we're on a time limit.
Yeah, so she reads Roots, or she actually starts reading Roots. She doesn't read the whole thing, obviously.
It's a long book.
They finally have the first day of school. Maury's kind of freaking out because the student base is very African American.
Right. And she just found out the night before that
they're not segregated in schools.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's what stems the whole conversation of this is what blacks are called in South Africa.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And from the first day of school, she has a book report to do about South Africa. Isn't that insane?
What are the chances?
Makes no sense.
That she had to read a book by an author that was banned in South Africa.
In my notes, I literally wrote in quotes, in parentheses, I'm sorry, what are the chances?
When they're walking to school, Piper and Marley are walking Piper's two younger brothers, and they drop them off at the elementary school, and then Piper says something like, junior high is for adults. And I was like, that's fantastic.
It's so
that's
teenage,
fantastic.
Such a teenager move. I think this is where the montage happens. They go see a movie. They go rollerblading. They
do friend things.
Feed ducks. They feed ducks.
They feed ducks bread, which is bad for the ducks. But they didn't know that in the 70s.
Disagree. Do you remember what movie they saw?
Oh, what movie did they see? I don't remember.
Freaky Friday.
Such a good movie.
I've never seen the original one. Have you?
Oh, I don't think I've seen the original either. Just the Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis version.
Very Disney of them to go see that movie.
Mm-hmm.
This is when they come back home. I don't know if it's the same day or a different day. Some people from the embassy come to the house to meet with Maury to talk with her. And they're like, we're getting you out of here. Shit's going down. Come with us. And they just basically not like kidnap her, but
they just take
steal
her.
They steal her from the house. And Piper's upset. She's crying. Maury's crying. The mother's like, what the hell is going on here? They don't know what's going on. And what happens, which we find out later, is that, what's the guy's name again? Stephen Biko.
Yeah, he was killed by the police.
So in the beginning, we kind of hear about him. We hear he's like a troublemaker, and the police arrested him. Because that's what Maury's father says. He's a police officer. So obviously he thinks he's just a troublemaker. But the congressman thinks / knows that Stephen Biko is like a civil rights protester. And he's just there to help the black people in South Africa get their civil rights back. So the police, at first it sounds like he killed himself. Stephen Biko's a real person, by the way. It sounds like he killed himself, but really the police officers killed Stephen Biko.
Right. So that's what they told people in South Africa, that he killed himself. But it seems like the rest of the world
everyone
knows that's not what happened.
And I mean, it kind of was smart for the people at the embassy. They're like, we got to take you in because like we don't know what's going to happen to you right now because there's going to be protests in the United States about what's going on. You're South African. You're white. We don't want to risk it. Come with us.
Right.
So it wasn't like a terrible choice by the embassy, but...
Yeah. I mean, it was, from their point of view, reasonable. They could have handled it a little bit better.
Certainly.
Like calling ahead.
But I get the fear that they had.
Yes.
Of her, something happening to her. Like, could you imagine if something happened to her? Like,
and then it would ultimately be their responsibility because they're at the embassy and
For sure.
Yeah.
So Piper tells her father, hey, they took her away. And he's obviously busy because, like, he's the guy. He's the go-to guy about apartheid in Congress.
Yeah, he's kind of in crisis mode.
So he gets to it, and first, Mari has a chance to call her parents to tell them, hey, I'm coming back. But instead, she tries to call Piper. Piper just misses the phone call, which is really cute that she called her before calling her own parents. And eventually the dad comes to the embassy and is like, hey, I'm taking her with me. And he gets her
saves
out of
the
there.
day.
And there were protesters outside the embassy too. So like they were right that stuff's going to happen.
Yeah. Shit did hit the fan. But then the father kind of points out, you're having a real PR issue and you could have a much bigger PR issue if you proceed as planned.
Right. So Mari comes back. And immediately, her and Piper get into a huge fight about Stephen Biko.
Right. And the dad is like, I didn't bring you back just so you can want to leave.
Yeah, because, I mean, again, like we went over before, like this is what she's taught her whole life. Mari's like, he was a goon or a thug, I think she said.
Yeah, he was a thug.
Well, you Americans call thugs. He was a thug, he was a troublemaker, and he, like, killed himself. And she's like, no. He is a civil rights activist. And the police killed him. And Mari doesn't want to hear it. She's like, what are you talking about? That's not the case, blah, blah, blah.
And this is extra hard for her because her father's a police officer.
Right. And then Piper calls police officer pigs, which Mari does not like. And so Mari runs away, and that's when the father comes outside and talks to her. And they
runs away. She runs outside.
Right. She runs out of the house. And then they have a heart-to-heart, basically, the congressman and Mari, about what was going on and things like that to get her more educated on the situation.
Right. So Disney Channel still got their check mark for a heart-to-heart talk. And I think actually earlier in the movie, someone, maybe Mari overheard a conversation or Piper overheard a conversation between the parents. So that check mark also taken care of. Down. Yeah.
Then they go to some African Day event, Pan-African Day, what they call it? I can't remember. Some event to celebrate Africa.
Right, and African culture and heritage.
Yes.
And Congressman Dellums gives a speech.
Where he sounds spot on. The same, speaks the same way as Obama. It was fantastic.
I would like to point out that this movie came out before Obama was giving speeches. So Obama sounds like Congressman Dellums.
And then Congressman Dellums, I think, got his speaking voice from Mayor Pete.
Time is not a line, it is a circle.
Do you think, so when this movie came out, how old is Mayor Pete, do you think?
He's 38?
So if he's 38, so he was about 18 years old when this movie came out.
He could have watched it. Does he have younger siblings?
I have no idea.
I mean, if he does, it's likely that he saw this movie.
Do you have high hopes that he saw this movie?
I'm shooting for the stars.
0 people will get this reference who ever listened to this podcast.
You don't know that. They might have started dancing as soon as you said Mayor Pete, high hopes.
I hope so. We'll see. So yeah, he gives a speech. He tells a story about the birds in Africa. It's not worth getting into it now. There's a bird in Africa that's really cool.
Yeah, Flora the maid told Marley the story that Marley told the congressman. Now the congressman is telling the world.
Right. And then, from there, basically, she goes home to South Africa. She meets up with Flora, right?
Yes.
Flora again. She's stitching in her... Was it stitching or was it a flag?
It was a flag in her vest.
Oh, there was stitching in her vest.
she sewed the flag in.
Oh, yeah. Oh, so
The
same
protest.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So the flag, which the band African Liberation Flag, whatever it's called, was stitched into her jacket, which is really cool.
Yes. I think she should have placed it differently because when she was running, her vest was flapping and it was clearly visible.
Yep.
Yeah.
Totally agree. And then she also frees the bird that was in the cage.
How's she going to explain that to her brother?
Agreed. And then we find out at the end that this is based on a true story, which we have no indication of.
What? Congressman Dellums
is
was
real.
a real congressman, real family.
He passed legislation in 1982 declaring like apartheid illegal. I mean, whatever. I don't know if it really had an effect on South Africa, but
I mean, U.S. is a superpower, so I'm sure they were paying attention. But yeah, it's real stuff.
Yeah.
Piper was actually his daughter's name.
And let me just clarify one thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we find out it's real. I know apartheid is real, okay, guys? I'm saying that we know that, like, some of the characters in the movie existed.
Yes. Yeah.
So fuck off, okay?
It could have been fictional characters framed in real world events, but these are non-fictional characters.
Based on a true story.
Based on a true story.
All right, so like you said before, came out in 2000. So the film is based on a story written by Congressman Dellum's daughter.
Piper.
Her name is Oh, you said her name is Piper in real life.
Yeah, so, all the Dellums, their names in the movie are the same as their names in real life.
Right. Oh, and the mother had the greatest name of all time.
Roscoe.
Roscoe is such a cool name.
It is such a cool name.
Roscoe's Modern Life. I'm kidding. So it's based on a short story by Piper named Simon Ye. And it's a story about a girl named Carrie who comes with them and stays with their family. And Piper writes that she lost touch with Carrie after some time after she returned to South Africa. And she doesn't know what happened to her, but she thinks she may have been killed for her anti-racist views, which is crazy.
Crazy, but, thinking about the time, not surprising.
And something about one of the actors, Eric Dellums, who is Ron Dellum's son and Piper's brother, appears in the movie at some point.
Oh, when? Or is it just like he walks by the camera?
I have no idea.
Do you think he's in the room?
Oh, he plays Oliver.
Who's Oliver? I don't remember
Oliver wasn't... No. He wasn't the Nigerian kid.
No, that was Daniel.
Daniel, right. Damn Daniel. We'll look up who Oliver is. There's no pictures or anything, so I couldn't really tell.
Yeah.
It's a small role anyway, so...
I mean, I would have just assumed he was one of the other congressmen or legislators.
He would have been older,
in the room when Mari first meets Congressman Dellums. That's my guess.
Right. No, that's true. All right. So, what were your overall thoughts of the movie?
I thought it was a good movie. Definitely not what I was expecting based on previous Disney Channel movies. Again, as we said before, a much more serious topic and a more somber tone throughout the movie.
And they handled it really well.
They did handle it really well.
The acting was really good.
The acting was good.
I think Mari's not a great actress, but, she's a child, so she gets a pass.
Do you think that she's not a great actress, or we're not used to South African accents?
I think it's the former.
Okay.
No offense to South Africans.
Yeah, and I thought that they had a good balance between, we're just going to watch this movie, and also we're going to teach you a few things along the way.
Yes. And so I don't remember watching this movie as a child. It's possible I may have. I just don't remember specifically. I also think it was done well. I think they took the serious part serious. There were some funnier parts, but a good educational movie.
Yeah, and we needed those funnier parts to, lighten it up a little bit.
For sure.
Yeah.
And it was done really well. Insane that they said the N-word several times, but overall done well.
Yeah, I agree.
Thumbs up. Thumbs up for that.
Can that be our new rating system?
Some thumbs up.
Yeah, thumbs up.
Many thumbs up.
A thumb up.
Not that many thumbs up.
Some thumbs up.
Multiple thumbs up.
A myriad of thumbs up.
All right. So do you want to start with questions? Or do you want me to start?
I will start.
Okay.
Well, I already talked about my favorite scene.
Right.
The cake scene. So why don't you share your favorite scene?
My favorite scene is when Maury first gets to the house with the African drum music at full blast. And they're like, what? Record scratch. It was so funny.
That was very funny. So our favorite scenes are like the two scenes that are more lighthearted in the movie.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Had to be. Come on.
My other choice for a favorite scene was when they open the gifts, and it just so happens that without knowing anything about each other, they got each other very similar bracelets. And when that happened, and they, clearly that's when they connected.
Yeah.
I just kept thinking, did we just become best friends?
Can we make both beds?
We have so much more room for activities.
No, you're right. I did not think of that, but good connection there.
Yeah, thank you. Also a serious and relevant film.
Very much so. Who would you most want to hang out with?
Roscoe.
That's a good
Piper's
one.
mom.
Okay, yeah.
There was no other choice for me. Just Roscoe.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Who are you hanging out with?
I picked Mari because I want to hear her say silly things that happen in South Africa. Like different words for things that don't make any sense. Like breakfast foods and racial slurs for Jewish people.
And biosphere for movie.
Biosphere for movie?
Yeah, when they go to see the movie.
No. They call biosphere? No.
Oh, bioscope.
Bioscope. Yeah. It was just very funny when she was using those words. Yeah. She had to be South African in The Actress, right? I don't know.
I don't know either.
I probably should have looked this up.
Yeah, you should have. I'm not allowed to look anything up because I have to go into everything blind.
Shame.
All the research falls upon your
after
shoulders.
The fact, after you watch
all
it,
the research falls upon your shoulders.
All right. So I asked most want to hang out with. Your turn.
What would you have changed?
So I would have put something, unless I missed it, in the beginning of the movie, informing the audience that it was based on a true story. Again, not the apartheid part, but about the family specifically.
That's a good one. Yeah, other than that, it's hard to really say I want to change anything because it's based on a true story.
Right.
So you can't change a true story.
Was that your change also?
No, I just I
okay.
had written down that, can't really change much. That's based on a true story.
Fair. And now it's for your favorite question, I think. Which characters would you want to ship?
I didn't have a ship for this movie.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
Oh, that sucks.
Not even. I mean, for Up and Away, I shipped the parents.
Oh, they were great.
But I didn't even ship the parents in this movie.
Do you want to hear mine?
Yes.
All right. So my ship was twofold. I had two of them. So it makes up for your lack of one.
Okay. Is the bird at any way involved in this ship?
The bird is not involved in this.
Okay.
They're all humans. The congressman and Mari's mom and Roscoe and Mari's dad in a trading spouses situation where they go on the TLC show. I think it's TLC. I'm not sure. Trading spouses where they switch. One mother goes to one house for a week. One mother goes to the other house for a week. And they just film it and see how they interact with each other for a week.
Now, would you want to watch the TLC version or the Dave Chappelle making fun of the TLC version?
I think the TLC version would be good enough on its own. But either way works for me. Have you ever watched the actual show?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I have.
I
Yes.
loved that show. Maybe a little cute thing. All right, and now for hot seat. I only have one question. Do you have one also?
No, this was a really difficult movie to come up with questions for, and I just
Okay,
having a hard time.
I'll start with mine.
Okay.
It's a pretty heavy question. What is the
I've been
most...
lifting weights.
What... It's not that heavy. What is the most racist thing you've ever witnessed in person?
Ooh.
And not like a TV show or movie or anything like that.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. Nothing is coming to mind. Not to say that I've never witnessed racism, but just that nothing has stood out as worse than anything else, if that makes sense.
Okay. That's probably a good thing. They haven't seen anything that was like the most egregiously racist thing you've ever seen.
It's either a good thing or a bad thing that everything just blends together and I've become so jaded.
Well, it's not jaded. I mean, unless you see something that's like very like outwardly racist that like stands out more than anything else. It's hard to really say, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you have an answer?
When I was in college, I think I was in college, or at least college aged, we were home for a weekend or whatever it was. And we went to a bar in Smithtown. And at the bar, it was like kind of like a small town bar, maybe like 20 to 25 people there. Most people like between 20 to 22 years old, except for the owner. And it was all, I think everyone there was white. I'm not exactly sure. And there's one black kid. And I overheard this one white kid next to me, who I didn't know, not a friend of mine, no idea who this person is, as a disclaimer. And he like was holding a knife, or like had a knife in his pocket. And it was like, honestly, if that black kid gets near me, like, I'm going to stab him. He didn't know who the kid was. Total strangers to each other. And I was like, what the fuck is going on right now? And like I told one of my friends, I was like, we got to make sure like this kid knows what's going on. So I went over to the kid and I was like, hey, like that guy over there like has a knife. Like you better just like watch out. Like I don't know who he is. I don't know if he's like crazy or whatever. But I just couldn't believe that someone would say something like that. It was insane.
That is insane.
Like thankfully the white kid left that had the knife. I think I told the owner. I don't remember exactly. I was like 20 years old. But insane.
And at a bar?
I was 21 years old. So I don't know exactly how it ended. But I know no one got hurt. But insane. Yeah. And like loud enough for like strangers to hear you say that.
Yeah, so that makes it seem like he didn't think there was anything wrong with what he was saying.
Unbelievable. So yeah, that's like the most uncomfortable I've been probably from a racist incident. So yeah.
Your story has not jarred any memories in me.
Oh, you never saw a white guy in a bar threaten to stab someone for being black? Never happened?
No, not for being black.
All right, we can move on if you want.
Yeah.
So for my favorite segment, on a much lighter note, the Alexis Bledel test. So no actors, unfortunately.
Ugh, a shame.
Were in this movie on Gilmore Girls, but the same guy who does soundtrack for like all these Disney movies did both movies. At some point did soundtrack for both of these shows or movies, and a guy who did location management for both the movies. So congratulations to David Korchuk, who did location management. David.
They
hired him for this movie, and they're like, okay, it takes place in Washington, D.C. Where should we film? He's like, let's try Washington, D.C. And they're like, here's $5 million.
He found the place that makes the giant ice cream cakes, Sam.
Yes, that's true.
He earned every penny.
I'm trying to think of anything. Oh, okay. So a couple things. So Piper is in a bunch of things I've seen. She's in an episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Okay.
She's in an episode of Goosebumps, Night of the Living Dummy Part 2.
Ooh.
Which is one of the scariest ones. And she was in... Actually, I don't want it. She's in 2 future Disney Channel original movies that are great.
Okay, so you've seen both of the movies that she's in, the next ones?
Yes.
Okay.
Without a doubt. And Billy, who is the white kid that hangs out. He's
The
like
friend.
the white friend. His name is Ryan Cooley, is the actor, and he was in Degrassi. So I asked you before if you've seen Degrassi.
Yes.
Do you know
Who's
that-
he in Degrassi?
So he is JT York.
Okay.
So he's so I looked up some stuff about him, so I have a better idea. He's a class clown, and he was stabbed to death in like the 6th season. He was like, maybe I should go to college, and then get stabbed to death.
That's what you get.
I've also never seen Degrassi, so I don't know. Does that ring a bell at all?
No, I didn't watch it religiously, and I haven't seen the whole show.
Oh, you watched it like secularly?
Yes. So prior to this, the only Disney Channel movie I had ever seen was High School Musical. So the friend who I watched High School Musical with loved Degrassi.
Well, obviously.
So whenever I went to her house, we would end up watching it.
I dated a girl in high school who was obsessed with Degrassi. And I think I may have watched one episode at her house, but I can't remember anything about it except Drake was not in the episode. Although Drake wasn't big at the time, so maybe he was in the episode. Who knows?
Maybe. I'm surprised because you like Drake, so I'm surprised you haven't just gone back to watch
Not for
an
me.
episode or two.
Yeah, I don't know.
I wouldn't expect you to watch the whole show.
I watched him get shot
Oh, okay.
on YouTube.
Okay.
That's about it. What? Oh, a couple more things. First, so your predictions about this movie.
I was pretty close with everything except for the era.
Right. You said it was modern day. You said it was a racial strife.
Right,
That was
and
the
this-
conflict. I mean, you also saw the cover of the movie.
This was a movie. I had confessed that I did see the
So
movie poster.
So this next one's going to be better because you've never seen this movie poster. You may have heard the title before, though.
Okay.
So this movie is called Alley Cats Strike.
Oh my God, your friends all talk about this.
Are you kidding or no?
No, I'm not. Whenever we talk about the podcast, they're like, can I be on the episode with Alley Cat Strike? That's all of them want to be on the Alley Cat Strike episode.
So what do you think happens in this movie?
Can I just say that I want it to be like a cross between the Aristocats and cats?
So there's a lot of cats.
Yeah, just a lot. I just want this to be cats.
All right. So what do you think happens in this movie besides cats?
So I think it's going to be like street urchins. I'm definitely thinking of street urchins because of Johnny Tsunami and urchins. Anyway,
Does it focus on one character or is it like a group of kids?
it's a group.
Okay.
So maybe within that group, there's a leader.
Okay. These are like street kids.
Yeah.
No families.
They might have families.
Poor
but
kids.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And they're not spending all of their time in school.
Okay. What's the conflict in this movie?
See, now I'm thinking it's like a West Side Story kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, so maybe it's like a version of Romeo and Juliet, except maybe less romance and more
So one of the characters, one of
Capulets and
the
Montagues.
the street kids, street urchins,
Mm-hmm.
has a relationship with a rich woman with a
I just said less romance. on, Sam.
likes a rich
Come
girl.
on, Sam.
Likes a rich girl is what you're saying?
maybe it's not even a boy and a girl. Maybe it's like these two, a member from each group. They just discover that they want to be friends.
Got it.
Maybe that, but then there's the word strike in the title. So maybe they're pulling off a heist.
See, I only like you getting as specific as possible because it's funnier when we come back for the next episode. So I have to make it as not vague as possible.
So kind of like for Don't Look Under Their Bed, where I predicted they would
exactly.
get
Yes.
sucked into a different world.
Unbelievable.
That was so. I will never top that.
Oh, no, absolutely not. Okay.
Yeah. So it's either gonna be
They rob a
like
bank? Did you just
like
say?
a Romeo, or just like a heist, like a
okay.
Ocean's 11 maybe.
Got it.
So it's either gonna be like a Romeo and Juliet
Like a
kind of
Clockwork
scenario.
Orange kind of thing.
A what?
Like a Clockwork Orange kind of thing.
No. It's either going to be a Romeo and Juliet kind of thing, but with friendship instead of love.
Oh, okay. So more like The Little Mermaid.
or like an Ocean's 11 kind of thing, but with tweens.
Okay, like an Ocean's 8 kind of situation.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Now I get it. All right. I think that's all we have. Is there anything else that you wanted to add?
No, I don't think so. You?
No, not really. I wish we had written down the South African words, so the breakfast ones, not the racist one. So we could end off with that, but that's all I got.
Well, how about let's just go get a bowl of what was it, Sugar O's?
No.
Ooh.
Sugar hoops.
Sugar hoops.
I would love some sugar hoops.
Yeah, let's
go get some.
Let's go get some sugar hoops.
All right.
All right.
Bye-bye.